Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Growing Up with Godzilla. My name is Donny Winter, and this is my show where I have conversations with Godzilla fans about how they've grown with the character and franchise over time. We are nearing the end of season 4, which is really hard to believe. And you've probably have seen some familiar faces returning. You've seen some new faces making appearances. For this particular episode, I will have a familiar face joining me, actually a wonderful person who joined me last season on the show for their first episode on. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome on filmmaker and writer Jesse from Great Lummox Productions. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I swear, like every time I see you, your locks get more luscious, and I love it.
Thank you. Years and years of not getting a haircut will do that.
Well, I mean, I've been there. My hair used to be that way a long time ago as well. One of my friends actually keeps asking me, like, Donnie, just grow your hair out super long again. And I was like, I don't know, like that was a lot of maintenance for me. It was so much
Yeah,
maintenance.
a lot more shampoo and conditioner, so it's a little more expensive for sure.
Yeah, and I think my thing is like it takes forever to dry too. So then I'm like, but no, you pull it off. It's great. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, it's been over a year since you've been on Growing Up with Godzilla. What have you been up to since?
Well, a lot of work. We filmed a short, which we uploaded, I think, February or March of this year. But with work and everything, getting through summer and now getting ready to go into winter, just been working a lot. Haven't been dipping into the creativity too much there.
Hey, it happens. We all go through our ebbs and flows as creators, right? So I'm hoping that maybe this winter, though, you might have another creative boom and, may get a chance to work on some stuff. I know I've been kind of like in that space too. I've been like in the creative funk a little bit. Like
You
I've been really wanting to get some writing done. I had gotten a lot done like in maybe May or June, but then the summertime was just kind of all hell breaking loose and
Yeah.
Britt and I are getting married on November 1st, so, like, between now
Congratulations.
Thank you. Between now and then, it's been kind of just like, like, we gotta make sure that, T's are crossed and I's are dotted, for the wedding and so on and so forth,
Oh yeah.
so, I'm hoping that over, the holidays, maybe I will also have some time to work on some stuff, so,
I
but
look forward to it.
well, and I look forward to yours as well. But so, no, I'm really excited to have you back on Growing Up with Godzilla because I feel like we had a really good conversation the first time around. So, obviously, my first question that I like to ask everyone on their second appearance on the show would be like, as a Godzilla fan, what has changed for you over the years? Like, have you had like any perspectives on like particular films or characters or moments or anything that have changed over time?
Well, one thing I think, especially with Toho bringing Godzilla back 26 with the Shin Godzilla -1 and all that, um, you know, being an adult when these movies were coming out and seeing, what all the different ideas and world events that you can basically copy and paste Godzilla onto
Hmm.
has been really interesting.
I agree with you completely, actually. I do think that Godzilla has demonstrated itself as a very, like, malleable character with whatever time we're living in, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Shin Godzilla, for example, being like that commentary on the Fukushima disaster that happened,
yeah, yeah. That
over a
that really
decade
put
ago.
that Yeah, that put that like original Godzilla movie, I think, into a bit of a perspective because it's, most of us probably watched the news when the earthquake happened
Hmm.
in Japan and watching the tsunami footage and how terrifying that was, and then watching Shin Godzilla for the first time, and then like, oh wow, that's when he's coming onto shore at the beginning of the movie. It just like instantly you think of that news footage,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
you have -1, which was kind of more of a more personal, I think, because it dealt with trauma and PTSD and all that. It was
Hmm. Well, it was
very
very much a
interesting.
commentary on war, right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, I think that's why Godzilla is so adaptable to whatever time the movie is being made in, is because, I mean, Godzilla is more than just like a metaphor, right? Godzilla is like that mirror that's held up to humanity to be like to show humanity like what its hubris or its
Like a 400-foot tall mirror to us.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just to show us like our flaws, right? Cuz
Hmm.
I mean if you go back all the way to the original film, like the commentary was always about like humanity's like sheer hubris about like
Hmm.
tampering with nature or well and that tampering took the form of like creating weapons of mass destruction, right? So and like Godzilla being the result of that. So no, I agree with you completely. Are there any like Godzilla films that like maybe you weren't like a huge fan of before that you like have changed your perspective on since?
It's hard to pick because it's hard to say that I'm not a big fan of any of the movies, I guess.
Is there a Godzilla movie that you maybe didn't enjoy as much before that now you've watched it again, you're like, "Oh, actually, this is kind of I kind of vibe with this movie now." My particular one is Godzilla Final Wars. Like, I actually used to be, like, adamantly anti-Godzilla Final Wars
Mhm.
because I thought that it was just, like, a mess. I mean, it is a little chaotic, but now that I watch it, I'm like, actually, there's just so many fun moments that are like campy that I really like. So that kind of makes me enjoy it a little bit more than I used to.
I would say probably Godzilla versus Megalon.
Oh,
Um, because that movie's going to come up in another one of your questions, actually. But I don't know. A lot of the times, like I'll go years and years without watching a Godzilla movie, but I'll start maybe listening to the soundtrack. And I went back and was rewatching Godzilla versus Megalon. I don't spend a lot of time arguing about Godzilla online anymore. So it that separation of time and finally watching it again, it's like, okay, well, this one's got a message too. It's not, you know, super. It's not as deep or meaningful as maybe some of the other films, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
hmm yeah.
And I love
No,
Jet Jaguar.
well, we how could we not love Jet Jaguar, right? No, I agree with that completely. Can you imagine all the time that you and I have logged over the last 20 years arguing with people about Godzilla, especially across the message boards?
Yeah, and then when you separate yourself from that and become an adult, it's a lot easier to enjoy things that maybe you felt were wrong to
Yeah.
enjoy at a certain point.
Yeah, and I think maybe a long time ago I didn't like Godzilla Final Wars because people were hypercritical of it, and I was afraid that if I liked it, I might be criticized by the
Yeah,
others who were hypercritical of it. But now I'm just like, I don't care. Like there are movies that I go to and I watch where I like where there's like a profound message that like is emotional and like introspective, but then
yeah,
like you were saying, there's other movies like Godzilla versus Megalon and Godzilla Final Wars that we can go to where it's just we're kind of just like needing the escape or we just need like
yeah.
the moment to just enjoy another world without any huge pressure to kind of like make us feel or react in a particular way. Does that
What
make
I
sense?
say about it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Well,
so I
Final
think
Wars is a fun one. Final Wars is hilarious.
it is. It is, absolutely, and I like, every time I watch it now and I actually watch it, like, multiple times a year now. It
Yeah,
probably if anyone were to ask me what my most watched Godzilla films have been in the last 5 years, Final Wars probably would be number 1,
yeah.
which may be alarming to some, but, like, it's just it's so chaotic and campy, and I really enjoy when the Godzilla franchise veers into that direction.
Oh, me too. I actually really liked Godzilla X Kong.
For that reason, because it kind of got a
Yeah,
little chaotic and campy. Me too.
especially at the end.
Oh, the gravity, the zero gravity battle, and then like Rio de Janeiro.
No.
Like, yeah, that one. Like, there was just I knew things were about to get wild when they spontaneously in the film gave Kong like his transformer looking arm.
Oh yeah, that came out of nowhere.
I like I saw that and I was just like, well, we are just pulling out all the stops here. We're just
Yeah, we've gone full Marvel now.
I know. Even Mothra appearing was like a bit spontaneous too. But
I I I liked it. It gave me very much Ebira vibes. Mothra's role in that movie,
ooh, that's interesting. I never pieced that together. It kind of does, right?
because like they don't like you watch Ebira, they don't mention Mothra once, and then you see all these natives getting shot and eaten by a lobster, and then
Hmm.
Mothra's just there, and that's kind
Mothra's
of how
just
it was in.
sleeping.
Yeah, she slept a lot in that movie, but
Mothra's always sleeping.
it kind of she was kind of the I don't what you call it the I'm not sure the word, just completely out of left field, and then she's in the movie, but it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
I love how she stepped in between Godzilla and Kong, who were basically trying to kill each other in the last movie, and they Godzilla's like, "Oh, mom's home. Gotta relax. Gotta
Yeah.
calm down."
Mom's home. We gotta rally. No, it also kind of reminded me of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster when Mothra came and like got Rodan and Godzilla to stop fighting. So like
Hmm.
it's a recurrence that's rooted in the history of Godzilla that I think I really like. So
And she
I
didn't die.
finally
Finally.
finally Mothra has like not died in a film. Like I think what was it? Rebirth of Mothra 3 maybe? I don't know. Like, it's been a long time ago since Mothra has not died in a film.
Since
So
yeah,
I
and
appreciate that.
they tend to kill her off the same way over and over again. So it was nice to see her make it to the end.
Right. Right. I mean, at least in the 90s they switched it up by like drowning Mothra and like
Yeah,
that's new.
I get.
As horrible as that sounds.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Honestly, after watching that, I would rather watch her blow up. That was
Oh,
tragic.
yeah, that's one of those movies I go to when I need to cry. Like I'll go watch that and be like,
Mm.
sobbing over Mothra drowning.
Oh yeah.
But so here's an interesting question for you. Speaking of time
Okay.
traveling, an interesting question. If you could go back in time to your younger self, what valuable wisdom from the Godzilla franchise would you impart to yourself?
To my younger self, I would tell my younger self that the world is a big scary place, and when you're older, it's gonna get a little bit scarier. So
Mhm,
you gotta put your trust in your fellow man.
mm,
Don't trust the government to do what's right by you.
mhm.
You know, when it comes down to it, you got to trust your fellow man, and you got to put aside differences, and that's the only way that life can go on.
That is a pretty central theme to a lot of Godzilla movies. I mean,
Oh yeah.
think of Godzilla minus one, right?
Hmm.
Like there were so many people from different walks of life, from who had different histories, different experiences, who had trauma, right? But they all
Yeah.
came together and they successfully overcame the obstacle, which was Godzilla, right? So kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, Godzilla could be a metaphor for any situation we're in that might seem larger than life or bigger than we are, right? So if we look at Godzilla as like that reminder of like, hey, we work better as a community as
Yeah.
opposed to, you know, division,
Yeah.
right? I think that's a pretty powerful message. I think
Oh,
that's something important to take away.
definitely. And minus one and Shin Godzilla are very similar in that aspect too, where it didn't come down to the government necessarily saving the day. It was just the common folk, and that was they did that I think a little bit better in minus one, or at least a little bit more inspiring. That they
Yeah,
You have this
Yeah.
common folk coming together to solve a big problem. You know, that could happen in real
Yeah.
life too if people would do it.
Mhm. Absolutely. And well, yeah, and I think, yeah, in minus one, like, it was far like, the story focused more on that coming together.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, Shin Godzilla, like, it was I think Shin Godzilla was so much of a socio-political commentary that, like, it really didn't focus in on, like, those, like, interpersonal things, like, it focused more on, like, the scenario, right?
Yeah,
So,
it
but
still
no
kind of had that. Those both those movies are very similar in plot, actually,
Mhm,
and that was something they both did, which I found interesting, which might say a lot about how Japan feels about their government, where it's
mhm,
the common folk coming together to solve the issue.
mhm. Right, right. Absolutely. Okay. I do kinda have, like, a fun question to ask you.
Okay.
So, which largely unpopular Godzilla film is your guilty pleasure?
Definitely Godzilla raids again.
Oh, okay. Here we go, because I've been such a huge critic of Godzilla Raids Again. So,
I
it
mean,
is now
I'll admit there's a lot to criticize.
well, I'm just saying, like, tell me why that film is your guilty pleasure, and maybe that will get me to revisit Godzilla Raids Again, and maybe I'll see
I think
something different in it.
I think a lot of it was more of just finding it because it was either Destroy All Monsters or Raids Again. I'm almost positive it was Raids Again, which was the last I had seen all the other Showa films and owned some sort of VHS copy of it, but that one was just not available anywhere. And we found a VHS tape on eBay. It was the English dub, but it was like a condensed version because I didn't realize until the classic media DVD came out that the English version had a bunch of extra scenes in it.
Mhm.
So the version I had was the English dub, but it looked like it was more of an edit of the Japanese version of it. And
Oh,
then, of course,
okay.
the classic media version came out, and I got to see the Japanese version. And I think it just like looking for it and just kind of being fascinated by it that there was even another black and white Godzilla movie.
Mhm.
And I think just the journey of looking for it and just watching it over the years has a big part of why I like it so much.
Mhm.
I mean, it definitely has pacing issues.
Uh-huh.
I think after the
Yeah.
Osaka battle, that the pacing issues are it's a little difficult to get through sometimes, but
Yeah.
I really like the score. The score is just like horror movie status for me. It's super eerie and creepy. Um,
Maybe when I revisit it at some point, I will, like, because it's funny because I can't remember the score very well from that movie at all. Because, like, sometimes the music is kind of like my gateway into enjoying a film more. That's actually what got me to enjoy Godzilla versus Megaguirus more. Because that film
oh yeah,
that used to be one of my, like, films that I was not, like, a huge fan of, but then, like, I revisited it and I was like, "Actually, this is a really like, Michiru Oshima's score was, like, really good, you know? So maybe if I rewatch Raids again well, not if, when, because I will rewatch it at some point, maybe that will be kind of like the angle I take, like, is the music
no,
that, an active part of the story too.
no.
Yeah.
I think its place in the history is pretty interesting because they rushed it out. Well, like they got it out in 6 months or something, and then
Mhm.
put Godzilla on hiatus and came out with all those other mid to late 50s films, and then going into the 60s, you got Godzilla coming back. That was also something because I'd seen King Kong versus Godzilla so many times, so it was cool to finally see how he ended up in the iceberg at the
Okay,
beginning.
yeah, that is kind of, like, in a crucial part of Godzilla Raids Again, right? Because I think we often forget that, like, the Showa films, at least the first few Showa films, do create a little bit of continuity amongst themselves.
Hmm.
So, like, yeah, that continuity between Godzilla Raids Again and King Kong versus Godzilla, like, I think it's interesting. I know that tends
No.
to be the thing that intrigues me the most about watching Godzilla Raids Again. Like, that whole,
Hmm.
like, ending sequence where, like, they're luring Godzilla to the iceberg and then, like, trapping him in the iceberg. Like, that was a very unique way to handle Godzilla. right?
Yeah,
Which I
and
don't
then
think
they
we've
finished
ever really seen again, except maybe in, like, Godzilla Final Wars, I think, or something to that
Return of
effect.
Godzilla, maybe.
Yeah, like, trapping him
Like,
in, like, in something, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just, I mean, it's just you kind of got to be in the right mood for it, though. It's a
I
guilty pleasure, and I enjoy watching it. But I mean, if I'm just like, I feel like watching Godzilla. It's probably not the first one I would pick, but if I'm in the right mood, that movie's a really good time.
Yeah. Oh, because of our conversation, I will go give it another watch and
You
see
should.
if I get a different vibe. I firmly believe, everyone, that every Godzilla movie should get a second chance.
Yeah,
So I will definitely give it another chance. I mean, I've watched it more than once. I've watched it several times, but sometimes, yeah, like you were saying, you have to be in, like, the right headspace. So, like, maybe, like, now that I'm, like, in a more open-minded headspace, I'll rewatch the movie and be like, "Oh, actually, there are some things I didn't notice before that are interesting," right?
yeah.
So, well, here's another fun question for you. This is probably my favorite one to ask everybody. What is your unpopular or controversial Godzilla opinion?
Okay, this is where Godzilla versus Megalon comes back. I think Godzilla versus Megalon has a better final battle than Godzilla versus Gigan.
Ooh, those could be fighting words for some people. Why do you think that?
I think, I mean, it's been a while since I've rewatched it, but the last time I watched Godzilla versus Gigan, I feel like the use of stock footage and I guess like the lack of movement from uh, like the monsters, like everything's like slow moving. They did that to create the sense of scale, but it just felt like a lot of that really just kind of dragged. And a lot of the
Mm,
time you just got monsters just kind of standing off while two other monsters fight.
mhm,
And I just feel like with the new suit and in Megalon, and I just feel like and it didn't use quite as much stock footage, at
mhm.
least in the final battle, because that movie used so much stock footage. It even used stock footage from Godzilla versus Gigan, so it was bad.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's a all around more entertaining battle to watch, a
Mhm.
lot more fast paced, which I like.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a good argument. That is a pretty solid argument. That final battle is really, really good.
No,
I think it's really good. Do you wanna hear my current unpopular or controversial Godzilla opinion?
let's hear it.
I firmly believe that Godzilla versus Space Godzilla is not as bad as people think it is.
I would agree with that.
I don't know, like, I recently rewatched that film, and people tend to be so hypercritical of that movie. And yeah, I do understand it's a beam spamming movie. There's, like, nothing but beams, right? But that's the whole Heisei
No,
era. But,
I don't
like,
know. That movie has some very memorable scenes in it. Like my least favorite part is watching little Godzilla get trapped in the crystals.
right, right. But, like, it's because it was such a sad moment, right? But
No,
I think that Godzilla versus Space Godzilla really tries to, like, experiment a little bit more with Godzilla in a way that, like, we get, like, a concrete love story taking place, like Miki
yeah,
Sagusa, right? Like, she gets to develop a little bit. We get to see, like, um, how mankind is handling an extraterrestrial threat. Like, yeah, like, the backstory on how Space Godzilla is created is a little bit excessive, right? But,
I don't
like,
think so. I love it.
well,
It's like, well,
I'm
it could be from when Biollante went to space, or maybe Mothra did it. We don't know.
it was all speculatory, right? That's actually how like, that film I credit for, like, getting me into, like, those other films, because, well, like, Godzilla versus Mothra mostly, because I didn't even know it existed until I watched that's
Oh
those
yeah, because those got that. I would think the last three Heisei films got released before Ghidorah and Mothra, if I remember correctly.
mhm. But for some reason, I never got to see, of course, Godzilla versus Mothra. But, no, I think that film, like, the final battle of that film is so long too. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, people who want, like, more Godzilla screen time and more battle footage, like, that movie is, like, a gold mine of that.
Oh yeah. And I love the cutting back between and Space Godzilla is probably one of the movies that does it right, cutting between the monster action and then you got the three pilots and the Mogera and all the stuff they're trying to do to help win the battle. I thought it was it added to it, unlike maybe like Godzilla 2014 didn't do
Yes,
that quite as good.
I agree
I
with you
thought Space Godzilla
completely.
had a great balance between the human drama and action and the kaiju battles.
I think so too, and I loved all those scenes, like, on Baz Island. I think it's called Baz Island, right? Like, the island where Godzilla was. Like, I thought that was super interesting concerning, like, literally a quarter of that film or even a third of that film was just taking place on that tropical island. I was like, "Oh, here we go." No,
Yeah.
I was trying to look up the composer for Godzilla versus Space Godzilla because I actually think the musical score is really, really good. It was Takayuki Hattori.
Hmm.
Um, super good musical score, and I think that,
Yeah.
like, it really deserves far more celebration than it gets because I feel like for that movie specifically, the score kind of, like, falls by the wayside a little bit and is, like people don't
Hmm.
acknowledge it as widely as, like, the other scores, so,
Yeah. I dig
um
it. I think he is a good composer. His stuff for I know people don't like the anime trilogy as much, but his music for that was really good. And Godzilla 2000 had a great score too.
he composed the scores for the anime trilogy?
Yeah,
Oh, see, I'm learning new things. I didn't know that.
rewatch it and listen, you'll catch it. His music has a very distinct sound to it.
You know, that should have been my other controversial take, like, that the anime trilogy is actually better than people think. Like, I mean, it's not perfect. I'm not saying that I'm not offering the anime trilogy on a platter and being like, "This is perfect cinema." Like, I don't think
Yeah,
it is. But,
it's
like
I think the thing with the anime trilogy is it's just really different.
mhm.
Like I think people want to see Godzilla movies do new things, but I don't think they want to see Mecha Godzilla be this like
A
metallic, like this
city.
like liquid metal that takes over and creates a city. But I mean, it had to be done. I feel like if even if you're trying something completely out there and new, that it should be done because you can't keep Godzilla in a box and just kind of recreate the same
Yeah.
stories over and over again. So I
Yeah, I think
think
we talked about
I
that
can
a couple of
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the episode I did with Henry a couple episodes ago where, like, Godzilla, like, experimenting was very important, and I think that's
Yeah,
why I think that's why the anime trilogy I think the anime trilogy is gonna age well, actually.
yeah,
People may disagree with me on that, and they are totally entitled to, but I think that it has potential to I think people will take another look at it and be like, "Actually, the experimentation was interesting," right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So
So
that time heals everything.
exactly, exactly. Even our wounds that we've suffered from various films. No, okay. So, as a filmmaker, I think this question might be super interesting for you. So, if given the power, what Godzilla film would you want to create, or what direction would you want to take the franchise as a whole?
The second part of that question is kind of hard to answer because the franchise is like what going off in three different ways now. We got the
Mhm.
MonsterVerse sequel, the potential -1 sequel, and maybe a Shin Godzilla sequel.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but I've thrown an idea around in my head. I think one of the big tragedies about Japan being the victim of Godzilla is they already got bombed.
Mhm.
And then you got Godzilla, which is basically punishing mankind for creating the bomb. That's simplifying it quite a bit, but then
Mhm.
he attacks the country that was the victim of the bomb,
Yes.
which is very tragic, and I think it's very poetic too. But I think a Godzilla movie set in the United States, set apart from the MonsterVerse, but more of like a Shin Godzilla type story
Mhm.
where he's punishing, the country that you know, caused his creation in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just a really scary, like natural disaster type Godzilla movie where he's just cross countrying through the entire United States and just completely leveling it. And I think, especially with all the natural disasters we see every year, I think that kind of movie could be very powerful. And I think it would be better if the humans don't win. Like you build, I would want to do it where they build it up like a typical Godzilla movie. They think they got it. They use their weapon or whatever, their secret weapon against him, and it doesn't work. And he
Mm-hmm.
just keeps destroying the country. I
I
think
do.
putting
Ooh.
the lens back on the United States would be, I think, a pretty cool and scary angle to go with.
And something unique, right? No,
Yeah.
like I and it's interesting. I think it's the thought of a Godzilla movie where like humanity doesn't prevail. I can't think of one. Has there been one?
Um,
Mm,
I think there has, but he's usually the hero in those movies, so you don't really want
yeah.
him to be defeated.
Yeah, so like an instance where Godzilla is the antagonist and humanity is not successful. Like I think that would be a very unique entry in the Godzilla franchise if that were to ever happen.
Yeah.
Um but I like so I if I were to answer this question, I think I'm thinking of 2 avenues. So, right now there is a comic book series from IDW
Mhm.
called Starship Godzilla, which is it's like I kind of think of it as like the Guardians of the Galaxy meet Godzilla in some way,
Uh-huh.
where they're like inside Mechagodzilla. Like I thought that was an interesting concept. So like I would love to see that adapted in some way as like a film or a show. But I would also love to see, like, a I don't know, like, I think it'd be really cool to see, like, a Godzilla movie that takes place during ancient times, more so.
Oh, I would dig that. I
Yeah,
think
and I
there
know
was a
that
couple of comic books like that, wasn't there?
yeah, yeah, and I think, like, there have been things that have tinkered with that idea, but we need something that fully delves into that.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be an avenue that would really allow some good exploration of the character just a little bit.
Oh, I think so.
Mm.
Something else, and I know that I don't think I think any Godzilla fan would puke if they heard this, but I think it'd be fun. Just do like a Pixar style Godzilla movie.
Oh, that'd be great.
You'd have to be careful though. You can't have Seth Rogen come in and do the voice of Godzilla because I think the fandom would just tear themselves to pieces. But I
Oh,
think if you did something in that style, but still enough of the Godzilla style that it doesn't piss people off and maybe they actually end up enjoying it. I think like a like a cartoon like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
that would be so great. You know, I really need do you know the, Quasi's, the artist and creator on YouTube who makes, like, those, animated shorts? Um, go look up Quasi stuff because like, Quasi's
Um,
is very much Quasi's has been on Growing Up with Godzilla, but I think that Quasi's work would like, I think it would be, like, perfect if someone were to be like, "Hey, let's take and make this into, like, a full-fledged show," like the cartoon aspect of, like, Godzilla and Friends kind of a thing, like, that would
mhm.
be I would eat that up. As a 36-year-old person, I would eat that up. Still,
Oh, me too.
great stuff. It's super great stuff. So, um, well, here's an interesting question for you. Now, thinking back on our first time watching Godzilla movies, right? Which scene in a Godzilla film shook your younger self to your core? And does it still have the same impact on you?
I would say Anger's getting his jaw broken, but I mean I've seen that movie so many times, it's just kind of like, oh shit, at this point. It's still pretty shocking, but I think what really gets me the most, and it kind of goes outside of it just being a scene in a movie, and is the cat and the smog monster on the stairs.
Oh,
That
yes.
always bothers me because did they give that cat a bath after that, or did they just throw him in the street and let him die from whatever they just covered him in? That
I've
scene, all because
always
I've always had cats, and that always bothers me.
I know, like, when I watch that movie too, I feel the same way, and I'm just like I'm like, "That is so depressing to me."
I mean, a good that there's a good bunch of like any of the scenes where people get disintegrated were pretty terrifying, and that probably gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I do feel like Godzilla versus Hedorah very much like, whenever the Godzilla franchise ever, like, enters that realm of, like, grotesqueness and, like, any sort of horror stuff, like, I really sits with me for a long time. For me, it would be the first scenes in The Return of Godzilla where, like, there's that, like, mutated sea louse or whatever it is, freaked me the hell out when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And I think, like, when I watch it still, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, I just like, it's just squelchy and, like, there's blood, there's, like, somebody's face was ripped off or something. I was
yeah.
just like, this is a lot. I literally just got done watching Terror of Mechagodzilla, and I'm starting The Return of Godzilla to this? Like, what is
Yeah, that's especially being a guy watching it because what does it land on the dude's dick when it's trying to kill him? I'm sorry, anything that's making those noises with those pincers, I mean, stay away from my dick, please.
stay away from that region.
Yeah, that's super uncomfortable to watch.
Oh, that was so funny. But no, no, it's true. And like, I don't know, I'm just like, that was just such a wild scene. And like
Yeah,
nothing else in that movie really kind of becomes that level of grotesque again. So
yeah,
like it's just like some Godzilla movies just have like these random moments. It's like, let's be as grotesque as possible. And then the
just
rest
shock
of
the
it
hell
can
out of
be
people.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Another one, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, like when when the guy and his girlfriend are, like, getting coffee, like, they're just random characters, and one of the Meganula, like, come down and, kills
Just devour
kills
them. Yeah,
yeah, and, like, you just see, like, the blood splatter against whatever, the wall, right? I was just
yeah,
like I remember watching that for the first time, I'm like, "That is unhinged. That is
yeah.
unhinged."
I love it when they just go horror movie for a few minutes.
Yeah. You know, that could be another going back to the question I asked, that could be another realm Godzilla could go into, right?
Just straight horror. Have you seen any of the like analog videos of Godzilla on YouTube?
Yes, I have.
There's a really scary one. It's like a guy next to a lighthouse and he's filming Godzilla. And as Godzilla gets closer, the film starts to deteriorate from all the radiation.
Mhm.
And then you got like the man in the suit, which is like a creepy pasta Godzilla story.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's some really bizarre ones that I think if someone had the guts to make them into movies, like you could really go places with that.
Yes, I think so too. Well, and so like I'm glad that I kind of feel like Toho is allowing a bit more fan creations to thrive and take place than it used to. Because Toho used to be, like, very militant about, like, no fan works being out there, you know? But because we see, like, these very interesting, like, short films coming out that are really, really fascinating. Um, oh, what's that one that was inspired by Biollante?
It's like the history of Godzilla, but they use the MonsterVerse version, and like Biollante like takes over a person and then like starts growing in the middle of the city. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, yes, I need
Yeah,
to
I
look up
love that.
that's Lost Utopia Films, I think that's the person who did it, so Shelter 54.
Yeah, that's
Such
a
an
good one.
such a fascinating retelling of, like, Biolante's origin story. Like, and it was so, like, horrifying, like, existentially
Yeah,
horrifying. I I really think that we are long, long, long overdue for just an entire Godzilla movie that's nothing but a horror movie.
I think it could be done.
Yeah, it needs to happen. So,
I think so.
Well, Jesse, I do have one more question for you. This has been a really good conversation. I've been nerding out. So, say a person wants to get their friends into Godzilla. What advice do you have for how they should start?
Well, I think anybody, even if you're not a big fan of older movies, should at least start with the original. Um, Honestly, I would say watch them all in order. You know,
Ooh.
you got like Shout Factory has some of them on YouTube for free that you can watch. There's
Hmm.
so like it's so easy to watch Godzilla nowadays. I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
Although
right.
that was part of the fun was tracking those movies down back in the day. That was part of
Part of
the
the fun and part of the horror.
yeah. I would say watch them in order from beginning to end. Um, because when you watch if you watch every single movie, you're gonna get a good idea of the history of Godzilla, like what works, what doesn't, like what you like, what you don't like.
Hmm.
Um, I know that's a lot to ask because there's so many of them now. But I would definitely at least start with the original and then work your way to modern times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. And I would just say if you are new to the Godzilla franchise, just commit. Just throw yourself into it. Like, go all the
Yeah.
way. Like, if you're gonna watch one movie, go ahead and watch them. I mean, obviously, don't just do it all in like one sitting. That would be probably impossible to do. Um, but give yourself the time to actually soak it in and experience the history because I do feel like there is so much socio-political history that is covered. Like each Godzilla film is like a snapshot of that socio-political
Yep.
history, right?
Exactly.
Cultural history. Like it's like I really think that there is some value to that. Um, and I think that's worth savoring when
Hmm.
experienced. I don't know if that
You
makes
get
sense.
yeah, because you're basically seeing like a small like snapshot of where Japan was at the time of that movie being released.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There, you just get so much context from that, and you end up learning about another culture. You end up learning about another time. That's why I was really intrigued by Godzilla minus one becoming a kind of like a post World War history piece when you think about it,
Hmm.
because we've not really seen a Godzilla movie delve into World War II history other than maybe
Hmm.
a brief portion of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, right?
Yeah.
So it was really cool to get that Godzilla origin story that really, well, for the most part, that really just helped kind of place the audience in that space a little bit better. So
Yeah. Kind of see what life was like for people on the ground after the war was over. And
exactly.
I would say watch all the other Toho tokusatsu films too. Don't just stop with Godzilla. You got all the films they made in between. You got the Mothra trilogy. You got the Frankenstein movies. You got, Yog monsters from space. There's
Mhm.
just, I think
The
it's
Gamera series,
Gamera
so
series.
many, Ultraman. I know for me, I really need to get my shit together and actually watch Ultraman and really. I mean, I've watched some of the series, but not I've not really taken the biggest dive into it that I know that I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one too. I still got to finish Ultra Q.
I've not even finished that either. So I need to
It's,
I just need to do it. I just need to.
yeah,
We need to take the advice that we're giving.
I think they're on Tubi right now, so you have no excuse.
Yeah. So, Donnie, get your shit together, right? So, well, Jesse, this has been such a wonderful. I mean, I know every time we get together, it's always going to be a great conversation. So, are you looking ahead? Are there any projects that you want to share that you might be working on or thinking about? Where can people find your
Um,
stuff?
nothing that's coming out anytime too soon. We typically do something for Halloween, so hopefully by the end of October we have some kind of horror short out. But I am working on a feature length script very slowly. I've actually been working on it for about 10 years, but I've started rewriting it for the umpteenth time. So I need to get my shit together and start writing it. But yeah, that's something I'm working on, a bit of a horror movie.
That's
Not Godzilla
exciting.
related,
But
but
still exciting.
yes.
Right,
And you can
yeah.
just find all my stuff at Great Lummox Productions on YouTube.
Yes, and I just found that you were on Instagram too. Like, I have my Growing Up with Godzilla page on Instagram, so I've been like going and trying to follow like everybody who's ever been a guest. So I was just like, yes, everybody's on Instagram too. Woo!
Yep,
So
I am on Instagram.
awesome. Well, everyone, please do not hesitate to go follow us on our socials. We do have all the links down below in the description section of the video. And of course, don't forget to click like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That always helps circulate the show. You can now listen to season 4, no, 3. We're on season 4. You can now listen to season 3 of the show on streaming services. I finally got my shit together and actually got them up on streaming services. So go
Oh,
check that out. I know I need to like my vision in the future is to like have the episodes on YouTube come out and have like the same episode come out a week later on streaming services to kind of create we'll see if I get there. We'll see. But thank you everyone as always for tuning in. Thank you Jesse as always for gracing this stage with me. And do not forget Godzilla fans, keep standing tall. Bye, everyone.